Hi guys, I'm Varun Vazir. Today I have a very pretty woman sitting next to me. She's turning 30 but looks 20. Miss Gul Panag.
You're very kind, Varun. I wish I looked 20, but turning 30 is what it is for now.
No, I'm serious. I must admit that you have an infectious smile.
Okay, well, if that compensates for being 30, I'm okay with it.
To begin with, you're a former Miss India Universe. Do you feel such beauty pageants are easy to step into Bollywood?
Well, it depends on what your ultimate goal in Bollywood is. I think if you want to just be um, okay, let me give you a bit of perspective. A couple of years ago, before this whole movement of cinema where people were actually expected to act started, you could be a Miss India and you could get a part opposite a hero where he was everything and you were just like five scenes. It helped you get those kind of parts. But to get parts where you actually have meat, sometimes I feel the tag actually ends up being a deterrent. Not always. It helps because you can pick up the phone and call somebody and they won't be like, sorry, who? Or even if they say, sorry, who? You can always say, I was Miss India so and so. So there's a recall value. So it sort of gives you that edge over an abject stranger who comes in and wants to sort of meet a director. So from that point of view, I think it really helps. But yes, it can have its fallout, negative fallout as well.
So, did you always want to be an actress?
I did, I guess. We all want to be actresses. All girls want to be actresses and film stars. Actually, they don't want to be actresses. They want to be stars, and all boys want to be pilots, I suppose. So yes, at that level, I did want to be an actress. I did pursue theater on and off during college and school. In college, I also went for an apprenticeship and an internship with a traveling theater company in the UK. So I learned all aspects of theater and production, from production to makeup to costumes to backstage, light and sound, and of course we got a lot of inputs on acting as well. So I came back and then I said, okay, let's enter Miss India. Once I won Miss India, I was still in my idealistic theater sort of phase, and the kind of offers I was getting were like Hiroki girlfriend and Hiroki wife and some five scenes in a song, and that just didn't, you know, cut any leather with me. So I kept saying no, and I did a lot of television till somebody, and I was quite happy doing television, till I think the tide in Bollywood changed and we began doing different kind of films, and I suppose that's where I stepped in.
Coming to that, you've been doing offbeat films like Door, Manorama 6 Feet Under, Run,
Run
Straight,
was not offbeat. Amitabh Bachchan it cannot be offbeat.
but it had a political aspect to it.
Yes, but I think offbeat is offbeat when the subject is something you haven't seen before. Because otherwise, we just do the same thing. We have two big stars and a love story. It's just everything is a romantic story. So offbeat is something wherein you have an untold story which you haven't seen before. But the moment a big star like an Amir is attached to say Rang De Basanti or an Amitabh Bachchan is attached to a Run, it ceases to become an offbeat film. It becomes a mainstream film. So yeah, well, I didn't mean to cut your question short. I do stuff that I like to do.
But are you not fond of commercial films?
I don't want to be in a film where I've just spent a whole night drunk and I wake up in the morning in the film with perfect makeup and not no dark circles and nothing. I mean, that's not what happens in real life. As it is, cinema is a surreal um, world. We're creating something. When we create something, let's try and stick to a degree of realism. And that's coming in today. For instance, Break Ke Baad, even though it's an out and out commercial film, has elements of realism. When Deepika is meant to be sad and crying, she looks like she has no makeup and her hair and everything is not perfect. So I think that is starting in our sense. But most commercial films tend to have this whole singing lip sync song. We don't do that in real life. I mean, at some level, one can still give them some rope when it comes to marriage sequences. But beyond that, do we really sing? I mean, when you fall in love with a girl, you start singing songs, and how do you compose them? Who does the music? I mean, hello, it doesn't happen. So if I really want to do fantasy, I'd rather do out and out fantasy, wherein we go to outer space and we do something of that kind. But I don't want to do fantasy in like live action films. I want to do fantasy in animated films, not stuff like this.
So, what about Turning 30, your next film?
Turning 30 is a chick flick. Chick flick because it's fun and it's the story of a woman. Unfortunately, it's not for those who are fashion addicts. It's not about fashion. It's the cross section of a girl as she has a perfect life, short of her 30th birthday, and everything is going perfect for her. And suddenly you find that her whole world falls apart. So fashion is a part of it. Her friends are a part of it. Her love life is a part of it, but no one thing is the center of her life.
So, how easy or difficult was it to connect with the character?
It's easy, you know. When I did the film, I just turned 30. In fact, when I signed the film, I was turning 30, and I started filming when I was already 30. In fact, the director, the cinematographer, the art director who does the sets, the costume designer, the both the lead actresses, they both turned 30 in the making of the film. So it was a very young setup, and no, there was nothing required to prepare because it was the story of girls like us.
Coming to the director, she's a newcomer, Alankrita Srivastava. How was
Yes.
it working with her?
Well, it's definitely her first film as a director, but she's an old hand. She's been assisting Mr. Prakash Jha since 2003. So 7 years of assistance, right from Apaharan to Ganga Jal to Rajniti, and she's been executive producer on Dil Dosti and Khoya Khoya Chand. So she's very well versed, and I think the fact that she's EP'd on films makes her a very producer friendly director. She's constantly aware of cost constraints, of how to not push a shift. So I thought she was very competent as a director. And at the end of the day, she's a young girl too, and we really had such a fabulous time. I think she was very good.
Tell me how different is life at 30?
You know, it's not like 29 life is like this and 30 dramatically changes, but there is a so, I wouldn't call it a paradigm shift, but there is a slight change in the way you look at things. For instance, the obvious ones are, of course, you're settled. Most people at 30 have jobs. If they don't, then I guess we can't say much about them. But most people at 30 have jobs. They are standing on their own feet. They are financially independent, and that last factor goes a long way in determining who you are and what you're going to be. So you know your mind a lot better. You know what kind of things you want in life from people, from the men in your life, and you don't look too bad. I mean, 30, you haven't dramatically like aged yet. I mean, there are a few changes, but primarily you don't look very different from 20. In most cases, I think people are looking better at 30
I
than they
agree.
did. I'm not trying to be vain, but I think I looked so terrible 10 years ago. I mean, I prefer the way I look now. I think even Karina and Bipasha and Lara, who've all turned 30, are looking fabulous today. And I think they all also great earlier, but they're looking way better today than they looked 10 years ago. So, yes, I think it's fabulous that you're 30. The downside is you have 10 less years to live. So, that, of course.
Talking about the title, usually it's a guilt to ask girl her age, or even the Bollywood divas, they often pretend to look young or say they are younger. But
Right.
you're openly saying turning 30, so
Why hide it? I mean, I've been asked this question a lot, but why are you openly saying you're 30? Isn't there a glass of water? Oh, sorry, you need to have a drink. Why am I openly saying I'm 30? Because I am. I mean, I have nothing to hide. I think it's um, great to look good and be proud and say you're 30 than have to struggle from rooftops and say, listen, I'm 24, but you don't look 24. So why not be happy with the way you look and push it?
right, there's Purab Kohli also in this film. And I recently read that there was a lip lock scene.
There are many in the film, like lots of them.
So one of them which I read was that the scene went beyond after the director saying cut.
See, I think two things that's very very possible. I don't remember it, but it's very high. It probably has happened in every scene where Purav and I are making out because what tends to happen is it's a big set, so the director is not sitting as close to me as say you are, so she'll say cut, but she'll be 40 feet away, and the thing is she says cut and she moves on to another shot. And suddenly, Purva are like, have they called cut? Have they called cut? And we look and it's cut. And nobody's looking at us. Everybody's gone off and doing their own thing. So it happens very often, particularly when you're on a wide shot because the camera is quite far away from you and you can't hear the director. And you don't want to, small film stock is very, very valuable. So you don't want to say, hello, are we done? And then find that it's not, the shot is still on. So it's better to like go 10% extra than to cut short and spoil a take by checking if it's over or not.
I read about you're a part of a called Shamsher Singh Foundation.
I run and have founded the Colonel Shamsher Singh Foundation. It's something I set up in the name of my grandfather, my living grandfather. It's a platform to bring like-minded people together who want to do something for society but don't know how.
So how did they go about it?
Well, you can start by registering on the website, which is www.colshamshersingh.net. Oh no, it's org. Sorry. Anyway, the link's on my website as well, gulpanag.net. It's Colonel Shamsher Singh, COL, shamshersingh.org. And what we try and do is a lot of people I've come across who are very conscious and who want to do something for society. But what tends to happen is they don't know how. And a lot of people don't have time and they don't have the money to give either, but they still feel they want to contribute. So, for instance, if your skill set lies in the area of tech, then maybe you could help a partner NGO of ours um, sort of spruce up their database and their web interface. So what essentially we are an interface that brings people who want to do something in touch with those who are already in need of people who could do with help, whether it's art. Suppose you're a photographer and you could shoot for somebody, and you could help the NGO put up its brochure pictures, or if you're an art director, you could do the artwork. So what we're also trying to do is, through this cause, we're trying to, our flagship project, which is going to be launched early next year, is a project that promotes volunteering. We want people to volunteer and understand what it's like to be not living in the same shoes that you're living in, and then hopefully somewhere in life you know that you have that knowledge and do something about it.
Great thought.
Well, we need help of people like you to make it happen.
You're very active on Twitter.
Yeah, active is an interesting term.
So, did you have a Twitter moment?
What is Twitter moment?
Like somebody, if I'm following Gul Panag, and if she follows me back, so that will be like,
Please, I follow like 250 people. So I have a lot of Twitter moments. I mean, I'm following a big. Every day I start following somebody new. In fact, today I started following somebody called Venkat something. So yeah, I definitely follow a lot of people. But Twitter moment is like, I think Twitter moments are when you be interacting with somebody on Twitter and then you meet them face to face. Two things happen. Are they like, what the hell is this person? This is not what I'd imagine him or her to be. Or you're like, you're so cool. So, you know, both happen. I have a couple of friends, like about 4 or 5 of my friends who've converted from being Twitter friends into real friends.
okay,
So there are people like that. Then there are people who you meet and you're like, okay, then next time.
one person you like following the most?
One is not possible, but
Couple of them.
I like somebody called B50. I do not know his real name because he doesn't share it with anybody. I also like Girish Malia because we have common interests. He's into cycling and marathon running, and so am I. I like Anag. Anag Desai runs the Bombay store. And who else do I like? I like this interesting person called Faking News. He's insane. And I like Junjunwala. Although we know he's not Junjunwala, but I love Rakesh Junjunwala. I also like Fly You Fools. I like Stupid Maximus. He's a stand-up comic. He
I know.
also the other two of his gang. I mean, the same gang is The Tanmay and Mojo Rojo. Who else? I also like Madversity from Delhi. He's a journalist. Writes very interesting stuff. And I like Shutter Crazy and lots of people. I mean, in fact, there's a reputed international magazine who's just come to India, mainstream magazine, and they want me to do a who to follow list. And I thought, yeah, it'll take 5 minutes, but I've been at it for last 5 days. I'm not able to shortlist from like 50 odd to like 10. So that's what I'm supposed to do, and I'm big time busting the deadline.
So, what are your upcoming films?
Well, turning 30 for starters, and then there is a film with Rajat Kapoor, directed by Rajat Kapoor, produced by Pratish Nandi Communications, that has Ranveer Shori and Purab Kohli in it. Yeah, Purab, and so again, lots of kissing there as well. Lots of kissing. Just kiss, Purab and I are just a kissing couple now. And apart from that, I'm trying to find what to do next. I haven't found it yet. I still haven't found what I'm looking for.
Right. One message for all your fans.
Be yourself. It's very easy to copy somebody else and follow a trend blindly. I think in the long run, it always pays to be a leader rather than a follower. So don't be sheep.
All right. Thank you so much for being with us,
Most welcome.
and wishing you all the best for the 30.
I hope you and your girlfriends all gonna go watch it.
Definitely.
I hope you have many girlfriends. You can take them all, and you should as well.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.